Today we're going to try just eggs because eggs are expensive, as it turns out. And honestly, these were kind of not expensive in comparison. I mean, they are a little expensive in comparison. You get 4 folded eggs in here. I'm not sure quite how big they are. 8 ounces, so we're talking about 2-ounce folded egg per. And this was $4. So basically you're paying $1 per folded egg, which definitely is still more than eggs, I suppose. Maybe, depending on where you live. Because a dozen around me is like $6. And of course, those prices will hopefully go down, but they'll probably never be as cheap as they were. You're not going to get a dozen eggs for, $2 anymore, I don't think. So why not try an alternative made from plants and see what it tastes like? That's what I'm just really curious to see what eggs that aren't eggs taste like, honestly. And the Just company, I know, has kind of a weird history. I used to buy Just Mayo. I really liked it, and then I think they got sued like hardcore by Hellmann's or Best Foods or something. And they couldn't make Just Mayo anymore because it wasn't technically mayonnaise by the definition of mayo because it didn't use eggs. So they stopped making that, and then this stuff started coming out. They have Just Eggs, and they have like a carton that you can pour eggs. But I got these in the freezer, Just Eggs, made from plants. Interesting. The most interesting part probably is the instructions. Now, they recommend putting these in a toaster, which seems incredibly odd to me, just because putting almost anything in a toaster besides toast freaks me out. I feel like I'm going to break something or melt something or something like that. But they honestly say toaster is chef's choice according to the instructions, even though they have skillet, oven, and microwave instructions. I will, in fact, put it in the toaster because that's what they recommend. Although Just Egg is pre-baked, please heat thoroughly before enjoying. So I guess technically you could eat it, that's why you could microwave it. And I guess you could eat it cold, but I don't know why anybody would. So we'll do the toaster just to see how it goes. Interesting thing here, made on equipment that processes egg. So if you're is anybody allergic to eggs? I guess that could be a thing. Then this isn't really going to help you. Made in Canada, blah, blah, blah. Now the ingredients, first one is water. Fair enough. That's for a lot of things. So the primary thing we got here is mung bean protein isolate, expeller pressed canola oil, cornstarch, and less than 2% of a bunch of other crap. So we're talking about mung bean here. I'm not quite sure how it's going to taste. It's definitely not going to look like that. In fact, let's just open it up so we can see what it looks like before I pop it in the toaster, which is odd to me. And it's also odd that they want you to heat it on high for 6.5 minutes. Now, toasters, honestly, even though I've used a toaster my whole life, I'm pretty sure the numbers are supposed to be minutes, but I'm not sure if they're supposed to be minutes or they're just supposed to be a general doneness. Because, the toaster I've gotten that I've had my whole life, has like numbers from like 1 to 6. And usually I'll put it on like a 4 or 5 because I like my toast pretty well done. But I'm not sure if that's minutes or that's just supposed to be a level of doneness, but I think it's minutes. So I guess I'll just put it on the 6 and hopefully that works out. Ooh, they're all individually wrapped, which, I feel like you're kind of ruining your Just Eggs, it's trying to be better for the environment and all that. I feel like individually plastic wrapping your eggs seems a little against that, but, who am I to judge? But here they are. They kind of look like the eggs you'd get at McDonald's on like a biscuit or something. So I'll pop one of these into the toaster. I assume that they must not drip any juices. That's why they can go in the toaster. But I'll find out. I'll pop it in the toaster. Put it on 6 because I think that's correct. And I'll be back to taste. Okay, here's our Just Egg out of the toaster. Interestingly, good crispiness on the outside. Seemingly, there is a little bit of juice on there, though, so it did get me a little worried about the toaster. And even though it's a folded egg, unfolding it seems kind of impossible without breaking it apart. And it's steam coming out. It doesn't seem like it's folded in the way that you can unfold it. So this is pretty much what you see is what you get. Now, the toaster, no revelations there, except for the fact that I'm pretty sure it's not minutes because I put it on 6 and it did not take 6 minutes. It took like 4 minutes. So I had to up it again and just kind of time it to get it to the correct temperature and I guess crispiness on the outside, and it's pretty good. Obviously it's steaming in the middle. It's cooked for sure. Does not really smell like eggs though. I gotta give it that on the smell. It smells planty. It smells fakey. It does not necessarily smell like eggs, but we'll have to go with the taste. And I brought some pepper with me because I always eat pepper with my eggs, so just to be fair, I'm gonna pepper this egg this Just Egg to give it a fighting chance. Now let's take a little piece of this egg, see what we get. And I'm going in just as it is. I'm not going to put it on toast. I'm not going to make a sandwich. I'm not going to, get some sausage or anything because I want to know. Sorry, my alarm actually interrupted me there because I want to know how it tastes on its own without any added extras. So let's go ahead and take a bite. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give Just Eggs here a big old fail in terms of both taste and tasting like egg, because it really does not. And it sucks because, like I said, Just Mayo I used to get all the time, tasted just like regular mayo. It was perfect, good substitute. And I liked it. I honestly liked it more than mayo. This I can't really necessarily get behind. It does not taste like egg. What it does, I'll give it that, is that the texture is pretty close to eggy. The texture is good. The texture is 100% locked in, good. The taste, not even close to egg. It tastes very odd. I don't know what I could really compare it to. I guess maybe it's just what mung bean protein tastes like. I couldn't really tell you because I don't eat too many vegan products, but it's just off. It's got a weird kind of earthy, I don't want to say chemically because I don't think it's chemically, but it's got kind of like an earthy, groundy taste, if that makes sense. It's got the taste of like a root vegetable almost. But not a good one. It's just, and it's also weirdly salty, which I don't know if it's regular salt in there. I don't have the package with me. I left it in the kitchen, but there's some kind of saltiness that comes with it that kind of overwhelms a little bit and kind of is a good thing, I suppose, because it takes away kind of that earthy flavor, but then it comes back in the afterbite, in the aftertaste. It comes back and it's just not good. As I said, texture-wise, it's a fine substitute for egg. Potentially, maybe, if you had this in like a big breakfast sandwich with like sausage and stuff like that, maybe you could get away with it. But I'm sure everybody who ate that sandwich would notice. It's not like a situation with Impossible beef or Impossible pork where you can basically confuse them for the real thing. If you don't know, then you might not ever know. Like even with like Impossible orange chicken at Panda Express, if you gave somebody a piece of Impossible orange chicken, there's a good chance they would not know that it's not, actual chicken. If you gave somebody an Impossible Whopper, I'd say there's a fair chance a lot of people wouldn't notice that it's an Impossible Whopper, assuming you have all the accoutrement with it, which is part of the illusion of it, is that you have to have other stuff with it. Because if you eat the Impossible meat from an Impossible Whopper just by itself, it's close though. It's still close, but you could probably tell, most people could probably tell it's not like real ground beef. But when you have it with the Whopper, with the lettuce and the tomato and stuff, you can't really tell. And the orange chicken is really close, and you can't honestly tell. It's more of a texture thing than a taste thing with the orange chicken because the orange sauce covers up a lot of the taste. And that's the problem here, is that with these eggs, you can't really cover it up with a sauce or a breading or extra things. Like I said, maybe it would work in a sandwich, but I think it's so not egg that it would be immediately noticeable to anybody. It's just not close enough. They need to tweak the formula a little bit to make it a little bit closer to eggs. I don't know if that's going to happen from them or from somebody else. Like I said, because, there was meat alternatives before Impossible got big, and what's the other one? Beyond. Those, when they started out even, they tasted different, and it's nowadays they nail what they're going for. But when they started and when their predecessors started, a long time ago, their stuff was not good. So maybe the eggs will improve over time. I don't know how hard it is to emulate eggs. I feel like it might be harder to emulate eggs than meat, but I could be completely wrong. I'm not a food scientist or whatever you want to call it, food engineer. But this is just not it. I honestly don't know if I'm even going to eat the other ones that I bought in the freezer. Maybe I will. Maybe, again, I'll throw them into a sandwich or something. But on their own, they just do not really taste that good to me. Even if you know it's not egg and it's an egg substitute, I don't think, even if you're not trying to, trick your brain or anything, I think the taste of these on their own is just not that good. I kind of wish that they had gone somewhere else with it, because it just tastes weird and earthy, like I said, and rooty and just not right, and a little bit salty. And the pepper, it can only cover so much, even though pepper is probably the best spice in the world. So that's Just Egg. Review-wise, I'm gonna have to give it. I'm sorry for being so negative, but I'm gonna have to give it a 1. I honestly wouldn't recommend this to anybody. Maybe if you're vegan, you've already got an acquired taste for like mung bean protein and it's not that weird to you. Maybe that's fine for you. Then you might be okay with getting just egg because the texture is a pretty good imitation. So maybe you could mix it in to a sandwich, but I don't know what you would put with some vegan meat and vegan cheese or whatever, and it'd be fine. But for people who eat eggs normally, vegetarians and everybody else who's not like strict vegans, just don't bother. It's just not there yet. Stick with your eggs, or even egg beaters and stuff like that is fine. But the just eggs, the vegan mung bean alternative, it's just not there. But hopefully it will be in the future. And with that, I will see you all next time.